What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Polestar. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what has been coming out associated to the company itself, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So pre-market, it is down 2.48%. So regrettably, kind of piggybacking off of the broader market, but there's been a lot of good things that's been coming out about Polestar. One of which was this. So for those of you who've been watching my channel, I said that this was coming this week about full compliance, and lo and behold, on the 17th in the morning, it did come out, and it caused quite the spike with Polestar because that's been one thing that was kind of stuck in limbo and scaring a lot of retail investors as well at the same time. So the fact that they got the A-OK from the NASDAQ, and they're pretty much the first EV to successfully fight back naturally and just appreciate naturally without doing a reverse stock split, is very impressive. But aside from that, not a lot in news, as you can kind of see. So aside from that news that came out on the 17th, I've already talked on the 13th, so that's kind of where I did my last video. But it's just a lot of investors now just want to see what is coming next for Polestar. Will this new CEO really change things up? Or is it just going to continue to dwindle out? That's what, again, at the same time, a lot of people are trying to digest with a 50 basis point cut that happened in the States. What does that mean? Does that mean that we are on the verge of a recession, or does that mean that we are on a verge of a very good breakout? Will consumers' buying power truly increase? Those are the questions that the market is trying to interpret right now. And so on Wednesday, you kind of had somewhat of a sell-off. Thursday, it's was going high, and then today seems to be more of a secondary pullback once again. So the market is trying to digest absolutely everything. The fear and greed index right now is under the greed category. So in theory, obviously people's appetite for risk is there. And so essentially, if Polestar is able to kind of hold on the technical level, it could really continue to incentivize buyers. I've been covering Polestar for give or take around 2 years, and that's been one thing that I said, that institutions do not care about Polestar. But as of late, you've seen roughly around 3 transactions almost every single day on the secondary market above $100,000, showing big money is still investing in Polestar and still does see more upside. So a lot did get in on the 17th, of course, with that compliance news. But yeah, based on yesterday, there was 3 transactions. 2 of them were buys. You can tell that based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. One was a sell, but $161,000 for a buy, $302,000 for a sell. Oddly, you have seen a reduction in the volume for the dark pool. Dark pool is often enough linked to shorting, so shorts haven't been all that active. I don't think anyone's really going to complain as far as that. So it is what it is. Quickly going over here, this is Lucid. I'll pull up Polestar. So Polestar right now, shorts are actually increasing already pre-market 257,000 shares. So should make for a very interesting day, and I'm sure that is correlated with Polestar going down that 2.5% like I mentioned. But right now 42.44 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost of borrow average is 98.37, and then utilization is 97.11%. So fairly high stuff in that regard. Aside from that, just showing you the PS ratio. So the current is 1.7, the future is 0.7. So in theory, Polestar is still considered very, very discounted. In the past, I compared it with Lucid. Some people said I shouldn't do that because, of course, different segments, business segments, and different, I guess, markets for the most part. But if you compare it with, for instance, Tesla, which I feel is maybe very oddly similar, especially with the global presence, you have the PS ratio for Tesla, and they're profitable, so you can typically look at the PE, but for the PS, it is 8.2 and then 7. So if you are comparing it to, for instance, Tesla, then Polestar needs to be at least roughly around that $13 to $14 range. So let me know your thoughts on that. If you think that is still realistic or not, looking at volume through options. So this is yesterday, because of course the market isn't open right now. You have 173,000 in calls, 699,000 in puts. So a lot of money is getting in, but unfortunately a lot of the volume was negative. So 85% of all the options that was done on Thursday was bearish, and they were more oriented towards for it to be sub 150 once again. So I wouldn't say it's overly crazy bearish, but generally it was somewhat. So I think there's 150 is a very strong pivot. And so yeah, right now looking at the open interest, you do have 8,000 at that $1.50, 3,000 at that 1, then 2,000 at that 2. And based on this, you have 11,000 at that $2 strike price for October 18th, which unfortunately Polestar does only have monthly chains, so it's not that popular yet. So hopefully it does continue to get more and more institutional presence, and then that way you'll have more weekly chains and stuff like that. But yeah, honestly, yeah, you do have some optimism associated to this. Just you need a continuation of buying coming from large entities. And right now though, with it at $1.57 pre-market, it is right on this pivot, so $1.56. So that needs to be held. If not, then it will continue to trend down between this S1 and pivot. So $1.47 is going to be the strong support. Aside from that, $1.56. So kind of just stay tuned for that. Yesterday, because of the pullback, it did touch this, for the most part, general area of the pivot. So we know it's somewhat strong support, but we'll just, it'll be no doubtably tested again today. Flip side, $1.66 will be the next strong resistance / target. But right now on the actual chart itself, things are still looking okay, even though it's consolidated a little bit from the highs of roughly around a kind of $1.90-ish. So it's consolidating, nothing wrong with that, because stochastic at the same time was very overbought, so somewhat resetting the technicals. It most likely will continue to consolidate up until that 200-day moving average, so around that $1.40. That's just my own opinion, of course, which is somewhere around this S1. So just kind of watch for that. Aside from that though, stochastic, you do see a bearish deviation, so red line above the white, and then number of retail investors are taking profits ever since it looks like the 16th. So the day before compliance news, they were starting to take profits. Polestar has ran up quite a lot over the last little bit. So just the last month, even though again consolidation has been occurring, it is still up 71.34%. Over the last 6 months, up 6%. Then over the last 5 days, somewhat flat. So let me know your thoughts on Polestar. Do you think that it is going to kind of have a secondary run and push above $2, or do you think that there is going to be a full market correction that is going to cause a lot of distress in the whole EV sector? So what's your thoughts on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is a kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.